All right, it's 6:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I realize that people may still be coming in, but I do want to respect everyone's time tonight. So as we get started, I just want to do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. And can you guys see the PowerPoint okay?
Looks good.
All right, so at this time, I'd like you guys to mute your microphone and then unmute it anytime I ask you guys a question or if you have thoughts or any other questions. Muting your microphones cuts down on the background noise. You can always use the chat box as well. I do like more conversation if possible. It's easier for me. But yeah, you can always use that to answer to the rest of the class who cannot make it tonight. This recording will be online. If you're not be able to show, you won't be able to see the chat box, I believe, though. So just going to continue on. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second live session module. This is just an overview of the agenda for tonight's module for our fourth live session. We will start out with reminders and important dates, welcome and introductions, checking in, locating the resource tab, APA formatting in regards to a cover page, reflection and critical questions from Chapter 7, importance of play, reviewing what you have learned from the last module, nurturing relationships, and then we will have some time for questions and answers. All right, so reminders and important dates. Please review the course calendar. Just a reminder that assignments are due at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know that there's about 4 different time zones that everybody is working in. So just make sure that you guys follow the Central Standard Time Zone. 11:59 p.m. every Sunday is when assignments are due. Except for your initial discussion posts and replies. The initial discussion posts are due at 11:59 p.m. every Tuesday, and then your responses to peers and myself need to be done at 11:59 p.m. every Saturday. Our final live session will be next Tuesday, on Tuesday, December 4th. At the same time, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then last but not least, don't forget to work on your journal this week. It is due next week in Module 5, but you should be writing 1 journal entry each week. So this week's area of focus is how educators impact positive self-esteem. Moving on, so I want to share a little bit about myself. I know some of you guys probably already know, but and then I want to hear a little bit about you. So my name is Mike, and I live in Colorado. I've worked for the public and private sectors as a teacher and director for the last 11 years, and have worked in the public schools. I'm currently an education supervisor for the Adams County Head Start program in Denver Metro. The picture that you see is me and my family from last summer, not this last summer, but 2 summers ago, I should say. We were at Disneyland, California, and that is one of my favorite places to visit because of the beach, and I just love the beach, and it's peaceful. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I would like you guys to share a little bit about yourself, each other, and your favorite place to visit and why.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm from California. I've been working with children for about 10 years now, and I work for Bright Horizons. And my favorite place is Disneyland as well. We go every year. My in-laws live in LA, and so we bring our kids there When going there as like, just a couple, it was like, still amazing, but seeing it through children's eyes, it makes it so much more worth it. And you just see like, you really see the magic in Disney. And some people are like really anti-Disney, but oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Well, welcome, Debbie, and thank you for sharing. Disneyland is an awesome place. It is very magical. Welcome, Sierra from Minnesota. Her favorite place to visit is Colorado. She loves the mountains. I have to say I love the mountains too. I'm starting to, I'm going to start trail running and start running ultra marathons as of next year. I'm going to start doing that craziness. Keela lives in Minnesota. Welcome, Keela. Her favorite place would be Duluth. She loves it up there. She's been in childcare for 9 years. Welcome, Keela. Welcome, Chelsea. Chelsea likes Las Vegas. I have never been. I heard that is a pretty cool place. Hello.
Hi.
I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Okay. I'm Katie.
There we go.
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And my favorite place that I have visited was the Netherlands. It's beautiful there. Beautiful weather, really nice people, a lot of fun.
Awesome. When did you visit the Netherlands? Have you visited recently or?
I went last March for the first time. It was my first time leaving the country.
Oh, nice. Was it scary to travel overseas?
Yes, very.
So we have a lot of people across the country, from Debbie to California to Nishi, who lives in Boston. And then everybody in between, it seems like. So I'm not going to go through everybody's chat box, but welcome everybody to the live session tonight. It's just a good opportunity to get to know everybody and share a little bit about each other. It's a little bit nice when we know just a little bit about each other, so we could try to make those connections. So I do want to move on to the next slide. All right, so just want to check in quickly with you guys. How are things going so far? How is class going so far? How about your reactions from week 4? And how are you guys doing with APA formatting and locating the resource tab? I know I'll be going that over in the next slide about what you need to do and how you need to do it as far as doing the cover page and APA formatting and where to find it. So maybe that would alleviate or answer some questions that you may have. I know some of you guys did it correctly, and then there are some of you guys who did it almost correctly, and then some of you guys didn't even attempt it, which is fine, but I just want to make sure that that you guys are getting the most points possible and that you guys are doing it correctly, you know, just for this class, but for your future classes with Rasmussen too as well. Yeah, with an online course, Chelsea, sometimes it's hard to get a rough start because every instructor does their class a little bit differently. But it's good to hear that you're getting into the groove now and it's becoming a lot easier for you to navigate. Good question. So Crystal asked if our journal entries need to be in APA format. Yes, your journal entries do need to be in APA format. And we will go over that as well, just so you guys are all on the same page of how to submit it and what you need to submit for it. And the next live session will be held next week, I will go over your journal a little bit more in detail about what exactly you need to do. So yeah, I'm hearing a lot of you that it was a little bit complicated at first, but yeah, I mean, like I said at the last live session, sometimes the best teacher is yourself, and teaching and trying to navigate through the course and just learn different things will help you tremendously in an online learning community. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide because I think I have answered all the questions. Does anybody have any other questions? I'll give you a few seconds to respond before I move on. All right, hearing and seeing that there is no other questions, I'm going to move on to the next slide. So our next slide is, how do I get to the resource tab? So locating the resource tab, I decided to do a visual for your reference, just in case you're still trying to navigate through Blackboard. I know a lot of you guys have already have done this. So here's just how you locate to the resource tab, so that I have a picture for your guys' reference. The very first thing you want to do is click on your class, and in the top right of the page, it will say resources. You want to click on that tab. Now, after you click on that tab, you will get to a page that looks like this, and I provided this visual so all of you can navigate through APA formatting and all of the other resources that Rasmussen College does have to offer, such as the tutoring platform, library resources, etc. So you'll notice with the arrow that the APA guide is right there. That is what you will click into next. Once you click into that, you will come upon a picture like this. So after clicking like that, this window will open up that will provide you with all the tools that you'll need to follow the correct APA formatting. One particular helpful resource is the APA template that you can type your assignment directly into and change the titles and personal information. So that's how you get to your APA formatting. And I know last week, APA formatting the title page. So last week's assignments, some of you guys were missing points. Some of you guys did it correctly, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page so you guys are receiving the most points possible. So you're not missing any specific component to the cover page. So as you guys know, APA format requires you to have a separate cover page that includes the following in this order. I just wanted to show you an example so, you know, like I said, so none of you guys do miss these points. So basically, it's pretty easy. You need the title on top, Next, you need your name, and then you'll need to put Rasmussen College. And then towards the bottom quarter of the title needs to have the author's note. Basically, just like this. This paper is being submitted on so-and-so date with the year, and remember to put your professor's name or your instructor's name instead of your own name on there on the bottom. If you do that each time and it's on a separate page, you will never lose points on an assignment for me. So I just want to make that clear to you guys so you guys don't lose those easy points. Does anybody have any questions with that? All right. Doesn't look like anyone has any questions. It is pretty straightforward. So I just wanted to make sure that nobody had any questions so I can move on with our live session for tonight. So importance of play. We had some reflection and critical thinking questions from chapter 7. In chapter 7, you guys were learning about establishing effective environments for young children. But we're going to talk a little bit about reviewing the importance of play from module 3. So it should be enjoyable, should be open-ended, should be free, timely, and involved. Just want to go over, did you guys have, what were your thoughts on, what was your thoughts on importance of play and the stages of play?
Oh my God, sir.
I'm sorry, can you guys please?
Doing homework.
I'm sorry, I don't know who is. I don't know whose background check is that, but can you guys please put that on mute? I'm sorry, can you please put that on mute? Thank you.
I'm trying to do this. It's not letting me do it. Oh, it's someone in my class. It's not letting me confirm my fucking crap. Oh my God. Come here.
All right. Like I said, please put your audio on mute so it cuts down on the background noise. So nobody does get distracted. Thank you. So what was your guys' thoughts about the review and the importance of play from module 3? I'm sorry, So the question is, ladies, can you guys share, can you share what factors would you think make play less enjoyable? And what was your guys' thoughts about the Module 3 content? All right, so it looks like so Vanessa shared that the videos were interesting. It lets you remember that stepping back and not inferring so much can actually help them grow in so many ways. And you know, that's one of the questions that I ask is, what makes play less enjoyable for children? And I think you hit it right on the nose, Vanessa, is just, you know, when you step back and let the children actually doing the work instead of actually correcting it themselves. And when the adults in the environment are not available to scaffold the peer learning, conflicts and interactions, or when children are offered authentic learning material that can be applied to their experiences, always saying no and giving no reason behind it is not a great teaching practice. So, you know, one of the biggest things is you can say no to a child, but, you know, always explaining to them why you're saying no so they actually understand. You know, a lot of my teachers say, walking feet please, or no running, and then I always try to remind them. And I think sometimes people get into habit with just saying that and they don't understand the reason behind it. So I mean, always making sure that you're having that conversation with the child so they understand that. Yes, open-ended play is really important, Mishi, for the child to create and use their own imagination as opposed to getting suggestions and directions from the teacher. Yes, I agree too. Debbie said that she did not hear the question. Can you please share the importance of play from the module is the question. And if you are viewing this online, please answer that question when you do your response for your live discussion. Hila said that it would make play less enjoyable if teachers are telling the kids what to play with and always jumping in the middle of their play. Yes, I agree. There does need to be some boundaries with that of what the children can play with, but the children should have many interesting and engaging activities for them, stuff that really sparks their interest. And, you know, a lot of that is just getting to know your child individually so you know how to let them plan through that. Yes, Sierra said it was interesting to learn that there are so many different types of play. There are a lot of different types of play, and there's something I do want to just talk a little bit about, is that in those video clips, there may have been one or two, or even, well, I don't think there was three, there might have been one or two. There could have been different stages of play that were shown, but usually during those video clips, they really try to focus on one stage of play, and there is a little bit of difference between all of them, and it's just interesting to see that, you know, a cooperative play is actually similar but different than associative play. because, you know, cooperative play usually are with older kids and there's rules and roles that are established, opposed to associative play where the play is, the group is doing an say they're doing an activity like the snowman activity, but they're actually doing their own snowman. They're not working as a team per se. That makes it, you know, associative play. So, you know, just different things like that is really nice to hear, and it is interesting that a lot of them are similar, but yet they do have specific distinctions between them. Yes, play does become less enjoyable when it is forced and told what to play. Yes, Vanessa, I agree. You do always want to step in and fix everything. And a lot of times, you know, you can fix problems if it is going to cause an issue as far as children getting hurt and the safety of the children. Then it's good for you to step in, but it is good for the children to problem solve and talk through their problems, because a lot of things that I will tell you that it's a life learning skill for those children, and it does start at a very young age. So it's very good to scaffold their learning through that. Yes, games and experience do build on the knowledge they need. Yes, I also like that too, Debbie, how there was different age groups and different stages of play. It was good to see that, and it was good to look at those video clips and analyze them a little bit better. So Margaret, you said that you were doing some of the things in your classroom that you learned from Module 3. That's awesome to hear. Can you share anything about what you are learning and what you are doing? It's nice to hear from some people to just know what you're doing, so you could take that information and apply it to the real world and into your guys' practice. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Angela. Yes, so socialization is big. It does build on a lot of different skills, a lot of problem-solving skills, which is critical in our world and as you get older. Yes, the babies were cute. I really did like the babies too as well. It's good to see it from a different perspective, especially if you are with older kids. Yeah, that's a hard age, Margaret. Got the toddlers. Some people call them the infants, the waddlers, and then the toddlers. Well, great. Anybody else have anything to share from Module 3? so you guys talked about what factors would make play less enjoyable and what factors may restrict play. One of the other things, and then you guys also shared what has impacted you the most from the Module 3. Thinking about these types of plays, I know Margaret shared a little bit. How would you, what can you apply to your classroom from this? Say you have, with the age group that you work, and I know a lot of you guys are saying stepping back and making sure that they could problem solve before actually stepping in. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? I know play does become restricted when the child are directed to specific interest areas and then they're rotated on a time schedule with materials and toys, and then they have to stay in one interest place. That is one thing that is kind of becomes boring for the children, but I think that there does need to be a fine line of what the children are able to do and what they cannot do, and there does need to be boundaries. I think a limited amount of materials where children cannot play with the same things at the same time can restrict some play. It can also be constricted when there is rigid daily schedule. So, one of the biggest things with my teachers is classroom management. When we talk about classroom management, we talk about the daily schedule and making sure that the routine for these children right at a young age becomes very routine, that they know what they're doing and how they're doing it each day, so that there is no surprises and that might throw a child off into their routine. So children should have an opportunity to play for more than 45 minutes a day in the classroom alone, not just outside. And, children should also be doing the majority of the talking in the classroom. And this is something I really, really, really emphasized on the discussion questions is, having children talk, but also asking them how and why questions. I can't tell you how important that really is to ask those how and why questions to make them think a little bit higher and try to scaffold their learning, especially the ones that are not quite there yet. Meeting them where they are and then trying to build on what they know is really important. If you are viewing this online, the other question is, share what has impacted your learning most from Module 3. And open-ended questions to help them think more about situations. Thanks, Sierra, for sharing. At the end of the week, this week we'll have 2 sets of twins, transitions week in my room. One thing about transitions is always making sure that children have something to do during the transitions. And that's another thing I see a lot in my program is a lot of the times children are in line, but the teacher is not really having any conversations or anything with the children or singing songs or doing what they need to do as far as keeping them engaged so the transition does run more smoothly. Nice. Thanks for sharing, Vanessa. Thanks for sharing, Mishi. Thanks for sharing, Keela. Perfect. So I'm glad that, you know, the stages of play in Module 3 was good information for you guys, that you can apply that to your, so you can apply that to your guys' practice, your teaching practices. So we're going to move along. Does anybody have anything else to add before I move along? Or, because if nobody has anything else, I am going to continue. But I just want to make sure everybody has something. Yes, Crystal, with infants, you almost have to have an outline of the day rather than a set schedule, because with infants, they are on different schedules as far as eating and sleeping. So I do agree with that, that infants do need individual schedules to meet them where they are at developmentally. All right. And by the way, this is my little girl. She was at the Children's Museum in Denver trying to type. This must have been a couple of years ago. She has changed a little bit more from that. Yeah, thanks everyone. She is adorable. She was premature. She was a 30-week-old baby. She had I can't say that word, craniosynostosis. So basically, she had to have surgery on her skull, because there was 2 plates that were fused on one side, and her other her head was growing one way and not the other way. So yeah, she had to have major craniosurgery on her head when she was 10 months, but she survived it. She got through it, and she's now a strong little independent, feisty little 3-year-old. Going to be 3-year-old. She's going to be 3 actually in 2 more days. So yeah. Yes, she is definitely a fighter. She's my little girl. All right, let's see. So here we go. Reflection and critical questions from Chapter 7. All right. So in Chapter 7, you were learning about establishing effective environments for young children. And with that in mind, let's just talk about your own teaching practices. Let's look at question number 1. Think about and discuss ways learning environments affect children's behavior, relationship with peers, and academic performance. And, you know, what do you see as the most important element in the environment? As you guys are thinking about that and thinking about responding to that question, if you're listening online and viewing this online, please respond to that question too as well. Think about and discuss ways of learning that affects these 3 things. For this is a really open-ended question. I don't think that there is a right answer to this, but I do believe that the teacher is the one who needs to bring the child's home and culture into the classroom. So transitions for children are smoother. Just for example, asking the family to bring in photos of their child at home doing the things that they typically do with their parents and other important adults in their life and posting the pictures at eye level so they actually can see it and acclimate to their learning environment. I think that, those transitions are really, really, really important to have a successful classroom.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Hi. So at our center, we do have like a transition schedule when like a child transitions to class to class. So it kind of like it's a little bit at a time. Like the first day will be from like 9:30 to 11, and then the next day they'll stay for lunch, and the next day they'll stay for nap time, and then and so on until they gets them a little bit more acclimated. And then next week that's when they start their full week. But also the teachers in their current class will be going to the class like to visit with their regular teacher at the time. So they still have someone trusted. They're going to a new environment and they're still exploring. So it's not so abrupt when they go for their regular transition time. And as we always encourage the teachers in the newer classroom to get to know the children, and if they see them in the hallway or something, or they see them and like, oh hi, I'm your teacher, and then get to know the parents a little bit. When I was in the classrooms, I would always kind of like really like not advertise myself, but like always be like, hey, I'm gonna be your teacher one day, maybe, like I would go to this classroom and I'll go to the infant classroom and be like, oh, you're gonna know me, kind of make it fun. And I think the parents really appreciated it, because then they're like, oh, I already know her, I'm going to her classroom, okay, like it's kind of whatever, because they're trusting, before I had children, like these parents are trusting us with their like most prized possession, and like they want to trust us. They want to trust us because some don't have a choice because they have to, but like of course they want to trust us. So just being kind of in their face saying like, I'm cool, don't worry, like we got this, and just making sure like the environments are just welcoming to the children, making sure it's like everything like it kind of reflects to our emerging curriculum, how we're observing the children and what their interests are. So you're going to have the things that they are interested in inside the areas. And so, having make sure you have like if you can, of course, mostly like more than one thing. So, those behaviors of that's mine isn't like so in their face kind of thing. And so, and having just conversations with them, I think helps a lot. Like children understand way more than like some people think they don't. And like sometimes they can problem solve even at 2 years old by themselves.
Well, thank you for sharing, Debbie. I really, I've worked in child care centers before where, you have that kind of like gradual release model where the child will go into the classroom for a short period of time, and then they will come back to their regular classroom, and the next day they do a little bit more and a little bit more. But what I really like about what you guys do is you have that trusting person, that trusting teacher that goes with the child during that time. A lot of programs usually cannot do that just because of budgets and stuff. So I really do like that your program does that. That is really it's best for children, and it's great. So thanks for sharing.
No problem. Thank you.
My program that I work at do similar to what Debbie's doing, but I take like on my lunch break, once I know what child is coming to me, I go visit him on my lunch breaks. I go visit him before I go home, and I get to meet that child before. Then I have that teacher to set up intake with me and the family before they come to my classroom, so I can meet mom and mom can meet me before they child enters my classroom. That helps. And then like Christmas is coming up. We usually do stuff, so me and my co-teacher, we decided to have a classroom potluck, so all the parents can get to meet us and mingle with us and have lunch or with the kids.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Margaret. I like that you you go out of your way to make those connections with those parents and those children. That really does help the children see your presence and know that you are a trusting person. So once they do come into your classroom, that they will they'll be more in tune and more aware of who you are. So that's really good that you do that. Great efforts. There's a lot of good information here that you guys are sharing too with chat. I do appreciate that. I'm not going to read them all just for time's sake. Yes, visuals do help a lot with transitions, especially even at the younger ages, but even at the older ages too, just because children develop at different times. All right. Thank you guys for sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing great feedback to the questions. That was very engaging. The next question that I'm going to ask is, if you were asked to design a one-room child care center for an early childhood classroom, what would be the most important influences on your decision-making as presented in Chapter 7? You may choose from a I can't say that word, one of the theorist's approaches, or more of a practical idea. What would your classroom layout look like? Would it be culturally sensitive? Would you have a library center by the block area, or an area where it is noisy? Why or why not? I know that a lot of programs try to keep block areas and library areas away from each other just because some people want quiet time, so it doesn't affect the noise from the block area. But just want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about that? And if you are viewing this online, please make sure to answer this question as well.
I can give you my room setup. My room is set up. I have, like, when you come into my main room door, you will come into Manipulate. Then you will hit Art Center. Then I have a little table, which is my sensory table. Then across from my Manipulate is my library area. And then across from there is my science area. Then I have my music area and my home center and my block center all in the area. It's like set up the quiet area centers and then the noisy center. That's how my room is set up.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Margaret. So, Vanessa, you said you would design it including being culturally sensitive. What does that look like? When we talk about culturally sensitive, it may look different to me than it does to you, than it does to little Johnny, and so on. Yeah, not having neat centers and not cluttered with too many toys for children to choose from is good. Sometimes you overstimulate the children, which can cause anxiety or absolute chaos. And then children fight over the same, well, even if there is a lot of toys, the same toy, even though there's a billion toys in there. Yes, having enough space is a big safety issue. Angela said we have cultural sensitivity starting in our center. We have play, people, and babies that are different, as well as pictures of people that are different from each other. Good. Chelsea said I would definitely have a lot of natural elements from outside nature. We strongly focus on the world around us in our school, and I love that. That's great. I would have sensory and art near the sink for easy cleanup. We would have family photos around the room and class photos of children working with their peers. Separating the play spaces are important. And having quiet place for them to chat and read circle from area we can get through. Thank you for sharing, Chelsea. For instance, our library would have a family book that represents all our families. Nice. Thank you for the follow-up answer, Vanessa. I do appreciate that. That's awesome that you are supporting that with your own kids too. I think it's really, really critical that we do teach our kids because as parents, I don't know how many parents we have in our classroom, but we are their first teachers, and we want to make sure that they learn to be culturally sensitive and knowing that everybody is different and everybody is different but yet still the same and are valued. I'm glad that you arrange your classroom, Crystal, every couple months to better suit the needs of the children. That really does help, and it doesn't kind of helps you as a teacher too, keeps you on your feet, and it helps the children explore different areas of interest with at different spaces. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. All right. Does anyone else have any other thoughts? Thoughts around these questions? All right. Hearing or seeing no thoughts, I'm going to move on. So nurturing relationships. What are some ways you can positively positive relationships with young children and their families? This is kind of a little video clip of, not a video clip, but this is a web link where you could watch a TED Talks video. You know, the question is, how will you get to know them before entering in your classroom? I know Margaret and I think Debbie shared a little bit about how they transition their children and what they do in their classroom to have those nurturing relationships. I know for our Head Start, our teachers are mandatory to have 2 home visits that they have to do with their parents to get to know the child, the parents' goals for the child, and the family culture, so they could bring that information and make conducive for the children in their care. So if you are viewing this online, what are some ways you can positively nurture relationships with young children and their families, and what strategies do you use? And Sierra said set up home visits before the child starts. Yes, that is a great one. And it's a little bit harder, say, working at a child care center where children are enrolled, and sometimes they maybe just, I won't say thrown in your class, but enrolled in your class without much warning. I think, you know, the biggest thing for me is collaborating with your center director or whoever's enrolling the children, making sure that they are giving you enough information so you could come prepared to best suit the child, even though that you don't possibly know them right away. So yeah, Mishi said that at her center we get the opportunity to get someone on one-on-one time with the new family. Angela says that they have intakes during transitions unless it is a drop-in. Vanessa says home visits are such a cool idea, and I wish we could do that at my center. I feel like we never get enough notice sometimes before a child even starts. Yes, I agree. You said we have the app Seesaw where we can communicate with parents. I like to reach out to the parents if their kids went home sick, if they had a bad day, or if something bad happened. Perfect.
In my center, we usually have like transition meetings. We have an infant and toddler transition meeting, and then we have a twos and preschool transition meeting. That's where the parents that if it's an infant coming to a toddler, they will come out one night and meet all the toddler teachers, where they'll get information about what will be going on in the toddler classroom. So they get to meet all the new teachers in the room. We also have curriculum nights. We have intake we do, and mostly in time we meet some of the new parents that's coming outside the center that haven't been to the center before. My assistant director and my director, they do tours. So sometimes when they do tours, they come by the class. It depends on if the child is a toddler. And they will introduce us to them. We get a chance to talk to the parents then.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Margaret. I like that you guys have like a transition meeting. When you say transmission meeting, is it individually for the child and the parent, or is it kind of collaboratively, like if there's like a few children that are moving up to the next class?
Say you have about, the last transition, it was like about 12 infants finna move up from the toddler room. So them 12 parents got a letter to come to the infant and toddler transition meeting. So it's like, depends on how many she has coming out the infant room before they even turn one. Some of them be before they be turn one, and some of them be like when they 11 months old, and then we should do the meetings.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
So yeah, it seems like that you guys have different ways to nurture and to communicate with these parents. Yes, reaching out to the kids when the kids go home sick, if they had a bad day or something bad happened over the weekend. I really think that the communication is huge in nurturing relationships and making sure that, you know, even if you have to have a harder conversation with a parent, that you are still being really transparent with them, so parents could see that you do care for them and that you're not just saying, oh, he had a good day and that's it, but actually sharing what he did and how he did it and if there's anything that might be going on. That's awesome that you get to talk to every parent, Vanessa. 10-hour shift is a long time to work with children each day, but it might be better than 5/8. I don't know. But that's good that you get to talk to parents each day face to face. That's great. Individual transition meetings, Mishi Center does. Good. Well, awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. I do appreciate it. I don't want to cut into your guys' night because you know, this class actually has lots of assignments, which is very redundant, but and I want to make sure that you guys have time to get your assignments done, and especially if you haven't done your discussion post for this week, to try to get that done as soon as possible, so you don't have to worry about that assignment. So next live session will be next. Uh-oh, I lost me. It went into the TED Talk. The next live session will be next week at 6:30. Does anybody have any questions before we end the live session? If you attended the live session, I see that you participated. You will earn all 10 points. I will try to get those grades in tonight, whoever participated in our live session tonight. If not, you could always reach out to me. I am available through, of course, email or text. Usually, I'm quicker at responding through text, but yeah, if you don't have any questions, oh, Vanessa might have a question. Hold on. Yes, I have to miss the next one because our holiday recital for my class kids, but do the responses have to be in APA format? No, your responses don't have to be in APA format, but I'm not sure if there's a rubric link to that or not. But basically, you're just answering any question that I ask in the live session. And next week's live session might not be as long. It probably will be a little bit shorter because next week's course load for you guys is a lot. You guys have a lot on your plate to do next week because you do have that assignment, the journal assignment that is due next Sunday too as well. So I just want to make sure that you guys have enough time, because I know all of you guys work, so you have time to balance your homework and school life, because I know that could be that can be a challenge. But to answer your question, Vanessa, I will get back to you. I don't think so, but I can be wrong with the APA format. I'm pretty sure you do not have to, but I will double check and I will send you a individual email. Does anybody else have any other clarifying questions at this time? All right, so hearing and seeing that nobody has any questions, yeah, I know, I'm bummed that you have to miss it too, but you know, it is what it is. You'll get to see the recording, and if you miss it, you miss it. I understand that life does happen, and we just try to be accommodating to our students and making sure that we, you know, do the best we can with what we have. If nobody has any other questions, can you just sign your name to make sure that I know that you are here? Oh, Angela had a thought. Sorry, Angela, go ahead. If you sign your name, that tells me that you're here and you participated. I know who actually participated because I could see everybody in the chat box, but I do appreciate your guys' time, taking the time out of your night to be here for this live session. Like I said, this recording will be online, not that you guys need to really review it, but you can if you want. And I will touch base with you guys, and I will make sure to get your grades in for this either today or tomorrow, if you were here. So that's all I have for you. Thought Angela had a question. Hold on. Angela, do you have a question or not? I thought you said you had a thought. What do you do when you disagree with a company? That's a good question. Like to not show in front of class. Let me write you an individual email about that, okay? And I could hopefully give you some insights. All right, guys. You guys all have a good night, and thanks for coming. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call, all right? Bye, Vanessa. Have a good night. Bye, guys.